Hey Alice, how's it going? So I'm going to be going over the two VODs that you sent, and I'm going to be giving you feedback and insight on what I believe you can do better to improve your game plan and your play. For starters, I love that you use the pink jury color because that's the jury color I use too. And I think it's the best one.
No mercy for you.
Let's see, we have jury versus camera. If I pause a lot, that's mainly because I'm taking notes. So, in terms of jury's neutral, the main goal that you have is you want to prioritize getting your stores because her unstored special moves are, in my opinion, relatively weak. You only want to use her unstocked quarter circle forward heavy kick to end out combos as a high damage ender, but say her unstocked quarter circle forward light kick and her medium kick, heavy kick, for the most part, they're not moves that you're going to be using in neutral. They're just weak moves. The stocked versions are strong, but the unstocked versions are just weak. Nice sweep. So in this situation, you're using your sweeps well to knock the Cammy player down, and I can tell that you have a good understanding of how to structure pressure. It's nice to see you try to go for offense here, but I can tell that you're struggling a little with just trying to create advantages and just moving in neutral. There you go. Get the fireball out. I also think that anti-airing is something that's definitely difficult for sure, but familiarizing yourself with Jury's anti-airs is really important, and that's something I'll show you. Oh wow, they did try first cancel. That's really good. You made some really good decisions there though. I can tell that you have a good grasp of what you want to do in a good amount of situations. So you notice how in this situation, the Cammy player, they're not really threatening with anything from afar. They're only actively contesting you in mid-range. So what this means is you have more luxury to create space between you and Cammy and mix up between whether or not you're just going to approach, right? Or if you're just going to back off and throw a fireball. That's the thing with Jury as a character. You really want to take advantage of how slippery she can be in moments and situations, especially because her forward dash and her back dash both cover really good distance alongside her drive rush, which make it so you have more luxury to just pick your spots than you think. And that's something I'll show you as well. Alright, nice though. I think that using Drive Impact to escape the corner seems as if it's a pretty good idea on paper, and I definitely get the intent, but I think that if you're going to escape a situation on defense and you want to opt for something more committal, I think I would suggest Jury's EXDP, her quarter circle forward heavy kick. So in anime notation, that's 236, 236 heavy kick, and her lights, generally speaking, her crouching light punch too, are really good options that you want to use to try to get the opponent off of you. And I think that they're a bit easier to use and apply than Drive Impact. Drive Impact can be kind of hard to use defensively in certain situations. think that it's also important to know how to deal with Cammy's hooligan, which is also something that I'm going to show you too. But for starters, what I am going to do right now is I am going to snag the second replay. And then we'll go from there. But I think that you're playing pretty well, and I think that this character suits you, so I think that you should stick with her. It's just going to be a matter of, once you have a more comfortable grasp of the game plan that you want to run, I think you're going to be feeling a lot more comfortable. Oh, it was versus Cammy too. Okay, okay.
Nowhere to run. No mercy for you.
Round one. Fight.
I also think that you're doing a good job of walking this Cammy down, but I can tell that you're not the most comfortable dealing with opponents who walk back so much. So that's something that I'm also going to cover with you in terms of how you want to think about dealing with that too. And nice one. So in this situation, let's actually go back to the scene. Cammy just threw you. If Cammy throws you, or generally speaking, in many situations in this game, you want to back rise. The reason as to why you want to back rise is it creates more space between you and the opponent, and it makes it so if Cammy in this situation were to do another drive rush throw, but instead of rising in place, you press 2 buttons after landing, so you back rise, she would not be in range to do this second drive rush into throw. But she was in range to do this because you quick rise. So back rising in this game is really, really important to get used to. You want to back rise most of the time against many characters in the cast. It's what you want to do, honestly, 99% of the time. There's some characters who are exceptions, but that's something that I think that you'll familiarize yourself with and get a better grasp of the more you learn the game. But for now, I would suggest back rising off of knockdowns. Like that. You actually back rise there, which was good. That's why Cammy's throw didn't reach there, and you were able to throw Cammy out of hers. So that's very important to know. I also think understanding what options you want to cancel Jury's normals into is something that I'm going to tell you about too. But I think it's going to help you out a lot. Because Jury actually uses drive bar really, really well. So it's important to know how you want to use your drive bar and your supers with it. Nice. I do think that you have a really good idea of the spacing of Jury's books, though. I think you do. But you see in that knockdown situation, off of this throw. Wait, let me go back. If you were to back rise in this situation again, you would not be in range of Cammy's crouching medium kick here. So that's why back rising is so important. That standing me kick also would not reach on back rise either. Alright, so now we shall go in training mode, and I will show you what I think that we can do better with Jury, and just some basic Cammy tips in terms of fighting against her. This is my favorite stage, so I always pick Genbu Temple. I also like that it's a pretty serious stage too. So like, I guess it just gets me in that mood to just want to practice and study. Okay. Let me make sure my training mode settings are correct, and then we shall cover these two characters. Now I want to make sure my frame data display is on too. Alright, perfect. Okay. So now let's talk about Juri's core game plan. So, Juri as a character. The main thing that I was talking about when I first started this VOD review is I was saying her unstocked moves aren't strong. The reason as to why is if you look at them from a frame data standpoint, you recognize how flawed they are. For example, if Juri does unstocked quarter circle forward light kick, which is unstocked 236 LK, this is -8 on block. She can space it out to be +1 at really, really far ranges, but she basically gets nothing off of it, right? And it doesn't travel like her normal fireball. So it basically covers no range, and generally speaking, it's -8 on block, right? And the fastest moves in this game are 4-frame startup. So it's not hard for a character like Kemi to punish your -8 on block move, because she can just do something like her crouching medium punch, right? Oh, whoops. Press that too fast. So these moves are very punishable on block, right? Her unstocked quarter circle forward medium kick is -10. This move is really minus on block, and it doesn't lead into any reward on hit. The stocked version is something that you only want to use in combos, which is something I'll cover as well. The unstocked quarter circle forward heavy kick is also -11 on block. That is also only a move that you want to use in combos, which I will cover as well. So if we turn these stocks, if you go to character specific settings in training mode, you can actually set Juri's stock count. Well, I'm going to set the Fuha stocks to infinite so I can show you why the stocked versions are better. So for starters, I want to show the situations on hit. The unstocked version is -2 on hit. The stocked medium version is +3 on hit, right? But the fastest buttons are 4 frames, so she doesn't get a combo from this. And the unstocked quarter circle forward heavy kick actually knocks down on hit, which is really good as a combo ender. So if we set these stocks to infinite now, we can now see the stock versions. The stocked quarter circle forward light kick is usually +1 on hit at point blank range, right? But it's more plus from further out, because now, instead of just traveling nowhere, it's a full-fledged fireball, right? So why this is good is even at point blank range, she's only going to be -3. So she's always going to be safe no matter what, which is what makes it going from -8 to -3 really good. This move is still punishable on block, it's still -10, but what's nice about it is it's now a great combo tool. Because instead of being +3 on hit, it's now +8 on hit. So Juri can do things like this. And she can actually combo her +8 into her 8-frame forward medium punch. This is a really important combo that you'll get used to with time, right? And the stocked quarter circle forward heavy kick, it hits twice, which is a really great combo ender from her medium buttons. So on hit, staying medium punch, crouching medium punch into stocked quarter circle forward heavy kick is a really good combo. Now in terms of what we want to be doing with Juri in neutral, I just wanted to get the stocked moves out the way first, because I think that just understanding the distinction as to why they're flawed, I think is just a really important part of the character in terms of why the stocks place so much importance in her game plan, right? The big thing about Juri's stock is her quarter circle forward, well, her quarter circle back light kick. It only takes 34 total frames for this move to actually finish, which means it's relatively easy and quick for her to get the stocks in neutral with the light version. The light version is the only version that you're going to be using in neutral. Because the medium and the heavy are a lot slower. You can do the light and the medium version to also nullify fireballs, which is really helpful with the medium version because if the fireball is moving forward, you step forward before you nullify the fireball too, which makes it really good to use the medium for that as well. But generally speaking, 99% of the time, you're going to be using the light version to gain the stocks, right? So let's just set the stocks to standard. Now, the reason as to why the stocks are important, because as we mentioned, her unstocked moves aren't great, but the stocked moves are strong. So to add on to this, getting the stock itself is pretty safe too, because this is only 34 total frames. Compare this to, say, a character such as Jamie Drinking. Let me just show this off real fast. Jamie Drinking actually takes 50 frames, which is a whole 16 total frames more. The main thing that you have to be wary of as Juri when it comes to actually gaining the stocks though, is that you have to be aware of the fact that you don't usually want to do it in ranges like this carelessly, because wait a second here. I'm trying to see. Game speed. Pause. Watch this. So you notice how when she moves her foot up, when she does the Fuha store, you see that complete wave of gray there? She actually extends her hurt box, meaning that you can actually clip her for doing the wave of gray from afar. So what this means is what Cammy can do here. If I'm not careful with this move, you see how far away she can clip me from? She's clipping me from pretty far out. So that's why you don't want to use the store from that spacing, like that close up, unless they really respect you. You ideally want to use that spacings like this, right? Or even further out a bit, because it's going to be harder for them to poke you or hit you out of it, right? Which is not what you want to do. Alright, so once you get one store, what do you want to do? In neutral, you can choose to spend a store on the fireball. Juri's Fuha fireball is strong for a few reasons, right? If she manages to get the Fuha fireball out, let's set this thing. She manages to get it out. There's multiple things that she can do. She can wait for the opponent to jump. Let me just set Cammy to walk back. Forward. She can wait for the opponent to jump and then anti-air them with her DP. If you find anti-air DP hard to do, then I suggest using her anti-air buttons. If you time it well, her crouching heavy punch is an amazing anti-air. You just have to be a bit under them, like this. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to cancel it into her quarter circle back light kick. You can also cancel it into her quarter circle forward light kick stock fireball like this, right? But this is a very key anti-air you want to be using with her. You can also use her crouching medium punch as an anti-air from further out like this too. But the reason why the crouching heavy punch is better is because it hits higher up. It hits super, super high up. This anti-air is amazing, and I highly suggest that you get used to Juri crouching medium punch and crouching heavy punch anti-air if they jump over your fireball. You can also get used to doing anti-air DP, but that's something that's more advanced, so it's not something that I would suggest out of the gate, right? So if they decide to not jump your fireball, what can Juri do? She can walk forward and approach behind her fireball. She can dash and approach behind the fireball. Or what she can do is she can drive rush. So drive rush is done by, if you tap parry in this game, you can actually drive rush raw in neutral by pressing 6-6. And Juri has really strong options from drive rush. She has her drive rush standing medium punch, which is plus on block. It's +6. And she also has her drive rush standing medium kick, which she can use if she thinks the opponent is going to try to hit her out of this forward dash. So doing this is a very strong way to gain ground in neutral. And if you don't have stocks, say if we have 0 stocks here, right? But we still want to try to use the fireball and approach, we can just use the EX version, which is just 2-3-6, light kick and medium kick for the EX Fuha fireball. And this is really good because we spend 2 bars for a fireball that not only travels further, it has more hits, and Juri can just advance behind it with the same other options. Another thing that you can also do is you can jump behind the fireball. So because she has so many ways to approach behind her fireball, that makes it so when she gets her fireball out, it's kind of hard for the opponent to deal with the situation, right? So now that I covered her fireball and her unstocked moves and what we want to do with that, then comes a bit of the easier part. So the buttons that you are using with Juri are good. Her main key buttons in neutral are her crouching medium kick, her standing heavy punch, her standing heavy kick, and her standing medium kick. In terms of how you want to be using them, it's really helpful if you don't have stores. You would think the only way for you to get them is to back off, right? And just do this raw. But she can also gain them from attacking by canceling either her crouching medium kick or standing heavy punch into quarter circle back medium kick. This is nice because it moves her forward and it's pretty safe. It's -6 on block, but if you space it out well, Kami's crouching medium punch is 6 frames, but look at this. You notice how it doesn't reach here? So it's very important to try to poke with the tip of Juri's buttons if you're going to cancel into this move to safely get stocks, as well as be safe on block. What's nice is on hit, you actually gain a knockdown from this too. So you can dash up, you dash up, walk forward a little, and hit standing medium punch. So on block, you're safe. So if we set this to random, right? On block, we're safe. On hit, we get offense. So it's really, really safe and good to cancel into that. Because you're also gaining your stocks too, which is what you need for your fireball and your other specials, right? So other ways for her to spend meter is what I heavily suggest you getting used to doing as a starter point is getting used to button into drive rush in this game. In this game, if you have 3 bars of drive meter as Juri, you can hit your crouching medium kick or your standing heavy punch, and then you hit the parry button either when your controller is in neutral or if your controller is in forward. You can tap the parry button here and you get drive rush. Drive rush is important because it lets Juri continue offense and be plus on block. The key drive rush button you want to be using from crouching medium kick and standing heavy punch is her standing medium punch. This is strong because it gives you pressure on block, and on hit you get a combo. Let's set this to not block. Watch this. After you hit this, drive rush into standing medium punch, what you want to do is you want to do crouching heavy punch into quarter circle back heavy kick, which is 214 HK, into her heavy punch DP. This combo is a combo that works from crouching medium kick and standing heavy punch. This even works from standing medium punch into crouching medium punch. So this is a combo that you're going to be doing a lot with the character, and it's very, very important to get comfortable with. In terms of using drive rush raw in neutral, as well as the jump buttons you want to be using, these are the 2 last things I wanted to cover with you. The main jump buttons that you're going to be using a lot in neutral as Juri is you're going to be using her jumping heavy kick from neutral jump. This button's amazing because it has really great horizontal distance. It's a great air-to-air and air-to-ground because it actually hits behind Juri. It hits on both sides. It's really deep, so it's really great if they say try to dash forward at you, move forward at you, try to jump forward at you. It's really good at covering space in general. In terms of your forward jump options, you want to be using her forward jump medium kick, which is a great cross-up, and her jumping heavy kick, which is a great air-to-ground button. This button is really, really good downwards. Her jumping medium kick is a great cross-up, but the downside to this move is it doesn't have as steep of a downwards hitbox as her jumping heavy kick. So this move is better for, say, jumping in on fireballs or trying to land a deeper jump. But her jumping medium kick is great because it is a really strong cross-up. In terms of her drive rush, I already covered that you want to be using with parry into drive rush, standing medium punch, or drive rush, standing medium kick. These moves are strong, in particular her drive rush, standing medium punch, if the opponent is being patient in neutral, because Juri has multiple ways to transition from neutral to offense to wrap up this final point that I'm bringing up. We can do our fireball. We can do our forward dash. The forward dash goes really far. We can use our jump buttons. Or we can drive rush in. Or we can do button into drive rush. These are all really important ways for Juri to gain offense. She can also, even if she doesn't have stores, use the EX fireball. I mentioned that I was going to cover some Cammy things, but I think that focusing on these Juri things will be very beneficial to you in the long run. The largest Cammy thing I did want to mention though is Cammy is a character who has a lot of strong forward advancing attacks in her Spiral Arrow, her Spin Knuckle, and her Hooligan. So how you want to think about dealing with these options? In terms of her Hooligan, you want to think about anti-airing it with a jab. Because if she does the fastball like this, then you risk nothing. But if she commits to, say, the full Hooligan dive, generally speaking, you'll hit her out of it. She doesn't have anything threatening to stop you from hitting the jab against the Hooligan. So it's something that you really want to be comfortable with doing against it.